I think it is difficult for us laymen, the non-mathematicians, to understand infinity because we are making a category error. We create for ourselves an insurmountable stumbling block by attempting to apply it directly to the world of mathematics. We jump right to the mathematical applications and implications, or worse, into the world of physics, what is the world of physics but our attempt to describe the behavior of matter, the very nature of which is finity. To have matter is to be finite. Is it any wonder we run into problems? Perhaps I just speak for myself, but in bygone years, when I tried to understand infinity, I would construct a simulacrum of the material world within my mind, and then attempt to traverse it, either in space or time, forwards or backwards. Pick your poison. I would suspend my disbelief and, for the sake of the experiment, forget for a moment what I knew or what we think we know of the Big Bang and strike out into a hypothetically infinite universe. I would cast out a tape measure, marked in millennia, in eons, marked in light years, in galaxies, in cosmic structures. I would hurtle along its length, attempting to gain its end, first additionally, then multiplicatively, then logarithmically, then all over again, helplessly, adding logs together, and still, every time, there is infinity, mocking us with another times 2. This might be an earnest leap, a leap which I myself spent many years attempting to make, fruitlessly. But the leap is misguided and clearly fraught. To try to understand infinity through the lens of existence is to leap right into wrestling with the divine. But there does exist other paths to the infinite. So, follow me and I will walk us on to the target. Disencumber us of the tape measure. As I've been alluding to, the trouble comes from semantic overload. Besides mathematical and physicistical and divine meanings, the concept of infinity has pedestrian, epistemological, and moral applications and implications. Let's keep it clean to start, no messy mountains or men, and begin with a bit of the pedestrian, both in a descriptive and a literal sense. I came to my current understanding of infinity on a walk. This is a true story, this is how it happened. One afternoon, eyes cast up, as I am wont to do, into the unending delights of our planet's blue and white and every red from black to bright sky, studying the shapes that particular evening's wind and water offered. I saw the sun was sort of luffed up, its glare caught in one narrow portion, one cross-section of a long, straight, well-formed cloud. The kind of long which only the sea and sky can really offer. Must have been rolled up over hundreds of miles, visible probably from space, though I have never been quite able to reckon or cipher the size of those titanic sculptures. I went to casually let my gaze trace the body of the cloud when I found the little portion of snared sun followed my focus, moving within the filament in sync with the flick of my retinas. By some trick of optical geometry, the lenses of my eyes carried the little puff of dilated sun before them. No matter how fast I cast my eyes back and forth, there was the glow, shooting across the firmament at thousands of miles an hour, maybe hundreds of thousands. No doubt it would have kept up if I had been able to move my eyes infinitely fast. But not really keep up, right? What exactly was going on that evening? The glow, of course, within the confines of our little thought experiment, within that airborne thoroughfare, was ubiquitous. It only appeared through some illuminating optical geometry, pun intended, to progress with the progress of my focus. If one was to draw the perimeter of the situation, specifically around the appearance of the glow, one could accurately say it could travel infinitely fast. But the reality is that this infinity was not a quantity, not a speed, not a measure of, was not a coefficient. Rather, it was a condition, a binary, there or not, external to time, within at least our little confines, inexorable. How about a less quantifiable scale, a messier metric? How about cleanliness? Can you break that spectrum? Can you disentangle yourself from its quantities? Well, how clean can something get? Pretty damn clean, all things considered. Let's clean a solid surface counter. Take it in waves. First, declutter it. Next, you sanitize. Take some harsh chemicals, give it that first wipe. Next, break out the less abrasive chemical, perhaps something vinegar-based. Wipe it again to remove any residue from the previous cleaner. Finally, let's take a lint-free cloth, soak it in some high-proof rubbing alcohol, give it the last wipe to remove any of the last smudges and to thoroughly dry it. Now you have a pretty clean countertop for a few moments. Then humanity will go and create a clean room to grind telescope mirrors or peer into DNA, and it will make your countertop look like a cesspool. That clean room is about as clean as humanity gets, yet at a glance we can clearly see it's far from being infinitely clean. The outside atmosphere's unending assault upon the controlled environment, the incursions of us animals, either working or retrieving or maintaining. Now, what about a forest, untouched by domesticated animals, at equilibrium, full of water and death and scat and dragonflies and storms and decay, masticating its nutritious mass at the proper pace? The messiest living room, strewn with random branches and leaf litter. Because of the forest's nature, it is infinitely clean, in a way inaccessible to the CDC or to NASA. It is categorically different in a binary fashion. Everything within it is equally as clean as everything else. Whereas with the countertop, its perimeter wraps around the solid surface, and everything beyond it, by its nature, in principle, does not belong. To clean it, your goal is to reduce that two-dimensional structure to two elements: the pure natural atmosphere above and the solid surface below. Everything beyond it, excluding a pure atmosphere, needs to be removed. In the forest, the solid surface wraps around the death and decay. At equilibrium, the perimeter of the forest surface suffuses down into the depths of every of its bodies and elements. What's more, the forest persists actively, at least for the time being, as they say, in maintaining its cleanliness against all organic, meteorological, tectonic, and cosmological odds. In principle, inexorably. What about when you add the animals capable of filth? That is to say, us, humans. Can we, with the daily, moment-to-moment onslaught of incalculably multitudinous choices, reach out to touch the binary of the pool of infinity? Brush even one fingertip across its magnificent surface? Not to say it is either easy or common, but yes. Let us examine the explorer navigator, who spies from his vantage point upon some treacherous slope, some distant tectonic mystery near the top of some far-flung mountain. He sees the intervening peaks and valleys, but he resolves he must know of what that strange color and glint is made up, that he himself must stand there, to kneel and touch with his own hand the exposed earth's bones, and marvel firsthand at its mysteries. Let us say for the following weeks and months, he remains singular of purpose, clean of conscience, disciplined in every decision. He pares down his world to a few intelligible elements: the sky, the land, the woods, animals and insects, his boots and his belly, fire and storms. Even provided he makes a few incorrect decisions, and he will, even though he must occasionally retrace his steps, even when his best path forward wends its tortuous way in diametric opposition to his quarry, the azimuth of his soul, of his mind, of his life remains true. At least for those weeks and months, on the spectrum of truth to lie, it remains true, capital T, in the binary, categorically, in such a world, with such a man, whether he does or he does not gain his tectonic mystery. It is accurate to say, with moment-to-moment purity, that he will, that he does, that he has, inexorably achieved, completed his aim. Now, let's circle back around to the cleanest of cleans, to mathematics. When and where does 2 times 2 equal 4? If you were to fly to some alien race at 10 to the 100 times the speed of light, could you beat 2 times 2 there? What about before life? If you were to fly back through time to the torrid age of solid plasma, would 2 times 2, that to which those words refer, equal 4? Yes, this law of logic holds true, because we are asking within the world, within the parameters of existence, because even that plasma, the universe at its most chaotic, still behaves logically. 2 times 2 is bound to equal 4. So now, let me here ask, does all this call to mind another perimeter? Does boundless and unperishable, omnipresent and omnipotent truth envisage before your soul to witness another, perhaps familiar entity? Can you see, glimmering in the void, a few lines from the magnificent, inexorable countenance of the original architect?